So if I was to guess why people stop camping, my number one thought would be packing, unpacking, and a lack of a system of organization. So today we're going to give you our tips to help you reduce that stress, eliminate most of the time taken up with packing and organizing, and get you out here as fast as you can so you can leave those stressors behind and enjoy this beautiful world. So like most things, we're not experts in this, we're learning every day, but what's really pushed us to become a lot more organized is we currently own two trailers, a 4x8 teardrop and a 13-foot vintage trailer. And going back and forth between the two, if you don't want a lot of stress and a lot of wasted time, you have to be organized. So today we're gonna share those tips with you. So before I go and get myself some breakfast this morning, I'm just gonna start with my first tip. And it's one you might find wasteful, and that is you need dedicated gear just for your camper alone. I'm talking clothing, kitchen items, outdoor gear that never leaves this little camper. And the easiest way to do that is just take a walk down to your local thrift store. You will find so many great things there. And if you think you're not going to find matching sets and quality items, you might be surprised. Oh, and I should mention with these tips, I'm going to start off with some broad items like this and then get more down into the details of what we actually have in the camper. I think both of them will help you have a more holistic approach to organization. So once you get your items purchased for your camper, the first thing you're going to do is create a master inventory. And this inventory is going to help you identify if you have redundant items. You know, some of the best campers we know, what they do is they look at an item and they determine, does it have multiple uses? So let me give you an example of one we have. So most people have matching countertop, a piece that sticks in here like corkboard with laminate on top of it. And that allows you to prep and do some extra work. Well, this allows you to do all that and then some. So now I can prep, I can do work. It's even tested to a heat level where you can move hot pans onto this. But I can also use it as a drying rack, and then we can still use this half for like washing our hands or pouring water over. Now they have these all over online on Amazon, tons of different sizes, so you can find something that fits yours. We have found when you label your bins, your bags, your containers, you pretty much eliminate that stress of wondering, do I have everything I need? What needs to go back in the camper? What goes where? So I'm just going to show you an example of how we label items inside this camper. So this is where we store our clothes. The simplest advice I can give you is give a dedicated spot to each person. So down here is the kids. They are, as you can see, in a see-through tote. This is how I would do it if I only had one trailer. This is May's spot. But because we have two, we're actually using these compression sacks. And the totes are best because they're see-through, they pull in and out very nicely. So I can set this here on the table, you know, kind of go through my stuff, put them back in here really easy. So I have to say our setup is not very pretty. It actually borders on tacky. And what we've found over time, we've done the pretty, we've done the nice aesthetic layout, but it isn't as functional and it's not as affordable. Let me give you an example. So these plastic bins, they're see-through. So you're able to see how much inventory you have. If it's food, you're able to see which items are in there. If it's clothes, if you have some nice non-see-through setup, you're not able to do simple things like this. And the plastic bins being affordable and coming in so many different sizes, you can mix and match to make the perfect setup. Or if you're trying to get a nice little pretty set, what you find is each cabinet and drawer, they're all kind of different sizes. And to find a set that has all the perfect sizes to make up one nice functional system, it's pretty hard to do. So I'm not going to steer you away from it. We went that route as well, but I'm just warning you before we go in. There's something about functionality over feng shui in a camper that we will choose any day. But our second trailer is a 4x8 teardrop and we have maxed it out with 4 of us. So we need these small compression sacks. These are the compression sacks from Tripped Travel Gear. They can really be wrenched down to fit on airplanes and motorcycles. But we've been using them just to go back and forth between the two trailers. Now what this is here, labeling the items really helps you know where things belong. And it has two purposes. Purpose number one, once I wash the clothes and come back in here, I know exactly this one for May needs raid pants, rain jacket, down jacket. This one's a little more specific. So Drew's needs 4 underwear, long socks, 3 pairs. So I know exactly how many needs to be in them and where they go. But the other benefit I really like for me is that when May says, hey, grab East, blah, 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 I can run in here, look at East area and go, is it in this one? Is it in this one? This way I'm not rummaging through items. Quick plug here, guys. We have shirts out and they go on sale today. This is a limited edition run of 3 weeks. These are for you small camper enthusiasts. If you want to know more, check out the description below, and I have more details of why we're doing this in the community tab. And it's kind of neat to divide the bags into different sections, because then you end up seeing what you use and what you don't use. So like this, as you can tell, it gets very thin by the end of the trip because I use a lot of underwear and long socks and shorts. But this one is t-shirts, long sleeves, and jeans. I find that I'm going like 2 days in the same clothes, maybe even sometimes 3 days. So this kind of gives me a hint that I'm probably overpacking for most of my trips. Next step, and this is a big one. After you get done with your camping trip, you are going to wash your clothes individually, meaning you're not going to mix them with your regular wash. Now, this isn't the most environmentally friendly thing. You should wait to fill up a load. But this is the part of the system where it can really fall apart, because if you mix your camping clothes with your regular clothes, somebody could wash the clothes and somebody else could dry them, and you never know where they're going to get put back. And here's where that inventory and that labeling really comes in handy, because now when you bring those clean clothes back to the camper, everything is perfectly labeled so you know where to put it. And even better than that, the next time you go out, you don't even have to think, how many pairs of socks do I need? Because you've kind of worked this out like a science, and the bin tells you how many of each item.
Probably not the right trail to be walking on, huh, East? What's that?
Chum.
Who got it?
A bear.
A bear. So this is the trail you do not want to walk at night. Oh man.
This is what, number
Look at that.
The 7th fish?
I think so. My
Gosh,
goodness.
there's even one more up there.
I just went back and reviewed the audio to make sure it worked, and I noticed the side table here, and I probably should talk about it. I've been using it for 4 or 5 trips now. This was sent to us. Charles Moman had it sent to our house. If you guys don't know Charles, he's a great guy in the community. He's all about runaway camper trailers and doing modifications. Check out his YouTube channel. But it was kind of funny. When Charles sent this to us, our original thought was like, wow, that's super sweet and awesome, but we don't actually want one of these Tailgater tire tables, because why would I want to eat next to my gassy car? And why would I want to carry this huge, heavy metal thing with me everywhere? And I was so wrong about this table. Why this table is loved by the overland community is it's the largest table I think you can get at the lowest weight. This table comes in at like 4 pounds. It's powder coated, super tough table, and I love it because really it helps with our organization. So as you see here, what we do is we take items out of the roof box and take items out of the car, and we use this table as a staging area before moving everything to camp. And then once everything's set up, we've now been using this as our water storage, because it's nice to have the little muddy pool away from the camp area. It's strong, and it allows us to use our new low water table for actually what it's designed for, and that's next to our camp chairs. So Charles, thank you so much. Sweetest darn dude ever. I cannot believe you had this sent to us. But yeah, if anybody's looking at this Tailgater, I would say go check out Charles's videos, because he has way more details on how to fit it if it doesn't quite fit right. Let's say your wheel wells are too tight for it. He has ways of getting it in there. But for us, it's a pretty good overall table. And if we were overlanding, this would probably be the only table we'd bring if we had, a Jeep and a rooftop tent.
So I've used this for a few weeks more now, and you can see the powder coating is starting to come off. If this even is powder coating. So either I have a bad batch and the conditions weren't right when they powder coated it. But you know me, I treat my gear hard, and I honestly did not treat this table hard, and it's starting to come off everywhere. Is it a big deal? Not really, but just thought you guys should know.
So now it's about packing the trailer. Organization plays a big key into how your trailer is going to tow based on where the weight is placed. I would just start off by saying I wouldn't buy the specific bins you need because you don't know where you're going to place the items yet until you do a few trips to know what rides best in your trailer. So for an example, our little, oh, I gotta show you this. Look at this school of fish going by. Can I get this? Can I get it? No, oh, I missed them. Try to place that weight over the axles. That's usually the best for most trailers, but that's not always the case. So for the 13-foot Scamp trailer, we were kind of struggling towing it, and we found over time, so instead of large, heavy areas trying to place it over the axles, it was taking the weight into small spots, but all over the camper. Now the teardrop, I don't know why, just the build of it, where the center point of it is, it wants all its weight in the back. And both the Scamp and the teardrop, once we got the weight distributed right, our gas mileage increased and so did our towing power.
You got one.
Before entering the trailer in Alaska, we take these shoes and just throw them under the trailer for storage. We don't have those snakes and those spiders like you all do in the lower 48. So most people just take a Rubbermaid under here, put their shoes in it. I've even seen people put brackets under here and then the Rubbermaid can slide in and out with the shoes. So I told you this wasn't going to be pretty. As you can see, we do not do 2 layers of stacking. We like to keep our cabinets open so we can easily get things in and out. This is one of the cabinets we use often, so these are the things we're grabbing all the time. So bear spray, we put them in multiple places so they're easy to find. Same thing with these headlamps. You know, back in the day, a headlamp was like 40 bucks. Now you can go to places like Costco and get 3 for $10, so it's easy to just place them everywhere. All our pots and pans, again, not pretty, but very easy to grab. I think you've seen before, we used to use the really small cutting mats. One of our biggest tips is don't use backpacking items out here. Use full-size gear, it makes it so much easier. Remember how I told you a couple videos back I was gonna show you how these nest? Well, I forgot, so here we go. They just nest in like this, the cups. You can put this on and then this folds right over. So this is great for boiling water for coffee. We use it to get the hot water. So we found the best way to stay organized is to use drawers. So if you can find a camper that has drawers, we would highly recommend it. Many of you have asked how these drawers stay shut. There's a catch here. They built a wooden lip, so you slightly raise it and pull it over. Also a great feature. If you can't afford or find nice things that have rubber backings to keep things from moving around, one easy tip is to just put rubber bands around things. So like your silverware here, you can wrap all your silverware up in a rubber band. It keeps them together and keeps them from moving around. So we have just enough for our family, just enough for our coffee in the morning. These little plastic plates here, I think many of you are thinking, why do they carry plastic around? We love the really high rims on these. I can't even tell you how many times I've lost full meals I've cooked out here and great things to the elements because they slid off my plate. It's not like at home. The way you're moving food to the campsite is so much different than the house. So find yourself something with large rims and you're going to be a happy camper. The next drawer, what we use to separate this is just little plastic separators because you need a little separation of space, keeps things organized and keeps them from moving around. But this is kind of nice, so you don't need to purchase because these are expensive. These dividers for the whole thing, sometimes just take up half the space or 3/4 and then use the other half as its own divider. This is my catch-all. As you saw, the gloves were the first thing to flip out. Highly suggest the first thing you do at camp is get yourself a pair of dedicated gloves. Nothing special here. This is where we keep the diapers and wipes, which I just wiped east and forgot to put one back. But it's easy to tell, right? Because I have a system, I can tell something is missing here. And then this last drawer, these are all our field guides. Wherever you're at in whatever country you're in, it is great to have guides for the berries, guides for the edible plants, guides for the animals you're seeing, guides for the highways. Make these as handy as you can because for one thing, you're going to need them all the time. You're always asking questions, but they also really enhance the educational component to what you're doing, and you'd be surprised how much you learn when you're actually out here connecting these books to what you're seeing. This is the closet everybody loves on these vintage trailers, and that's because you can put a compact toilet in here. Some people even plumb this space. For us, we're kind of embarrassed. We haven't even utilized it yet. So like I talked about, you're going to want to take many trips out here and determine how you're going to use your space before purchasing storage bins. So we've done this a lot. We've kept fishing poles in here. Speaking of fishing gear, I have a ton of pointers on how to carry fishing gear, everything under your trailer, inside your trailer in our teardrop fishing video. I'll link that one in the description below. But what I found, I think what I want to do here is go vertical. So I want storage like this that can be pulled out. And then this is kind of, again, our catch-all. This is our stove, our fire pit, and things like that. So down here, same concept. What we're doing is we're using, again, these nice little clear bins. And what's nice about these clear plastic bins here is they're low. So this way I can see my books and just thumb through them as I'm looking for stuff. So this year we've added large Ziploc bags to our organizational system, and this is to store all our dirty clothes. They go in the Ziploc bag, that smell does not come back into our camper. And then the other thing we're doing, we have a separate bag just for dirty rags. We used to bring like 3 or 4 rags out and they got soiled and they were gross, and we ended up using paper towels at the end of the trip. Now we bring more than 10 rags out there, just basic shop rags. Bring them home when you're done and you can wash them, and then you're ready to go again. This is the cabinet we probably use the most, the one right inside the door. And what we're keeping in here is our wash kit for our dishes. If you guys have seen our low water dishwashing solution, that's what this is for. This is a clear Ziploc bag so we can see how much is here. So at the end of the trip, I can see if I need to refill anything. Now, if space is limited, a really easy tip is to just add lids onto these plastic bins, and now you can stack them up. And we like to get the ones that have grooves on the lids so they easily stack and don't move as much around. They're basically designed to be nested on top of each other. So the next thing we're going to do is add tie downs to the floor. We're starting to grow as a family, and it would be really nice to carry the cooler in here and to carry some larger gear during transport, like the bikes that are instantly going to come out. So putting some nice little tie downs, especially the kinds that can be adjusted, the adjustable, they're on a rack system. Then you can move things around and keep them secure, not worrying about them destroying your cabinets or your trailer while in transit. So this wall right here would be great for a shoe organizer. You could add even a little shoe organizer here. And then, as you know, most people on their inside of their closets add shoe organizers. A great way to carry little things, light things. I wouldn't carry heavy stuff. We've done the organizers too that are the cubes that hook by a hanger on here. We had one this summer and we broke it because we carried too heavy of items. So they work, just make sure your items are lighter. Many of these spaces are really dark and you can't even see what's here, like this kite I just found today. An easy fix for this is to put those LED puck lights in many cabinet and spaces like this to help you find things. Now this may seem just like a waste of space, and maybe it is. All we have here is a bucket. We need to maybe think this through, but this bucket has multiple purposes, and that's what I'm trying to show you. Really think through what you have. So this bucket can be a catch-all for the water if for some reason this faucet was to go out. And this stops me from having an issue with the subfloor with water leaking that I don't know about. This bucket stores all these plants. So when I'm in transit, these plants come in this bucket for safekeeping. This bucket is our nighttime emergency pee bucket. As you can see, there's bags in here, you line it up, and that's what we're currently using it for. Look at this, we have a fly fishing family out here. I love it. So if you guys have a window like this that doesn't have a screen on it, you can put those bathroom caddies on there with the suction cups for additional storage. So you guys know we have driven a Toyota Matrix most of our time with this channel, and it has amazing space in the back, you know, hatchback wagons. This Jeep is much narrower, so we picked up these Plano trunk boxes, made in America, built tough. These things are great, and they have little patterns on them here so they can stack on each other and not move around. Another great addition. And why we love this, it allows us to shut this door and easily pull it out
where other Rubbermaids that are wider, we were not able to shut the door. And unfortunately, with this Shasta, we can't even open the Jeep door, so we need to come through this window easily. This allows us to do that.